Okay. So, Archana, you had two questions. I will start from there.
Yeah.
And before that, just to say that, we had a brief about the overview of Kong API Gateway in our last class.
Mm. Yes.
Yeah. So, you had two questions. Hmm? Can you mute yourself, both of you? Yeah. So the first question was, what is how does it decentralize, right? How Kong API Gateway decentralize the applications, right? So the point is, the decentralization means when you had the big applications. In fact, we used to have, at least I would say, in the era till 2015, right? People had legacy application, but 10 it's onwards itself, people started to move from legacy, big monolith to microservices gradually, and 15 onwards, like the most of the companies started using distributed or microservice based applications, and now it is at the peak. Okay, so the decentralization means one application which is centered into one application only, into one monolith or one database, into one server with a very huge load or something like that. But when there was a need to split them into small small pieces or services, or you can say microservices or APIs, so that is a service decentralization. To support this decentralization, API gateway came to picture, right? So basically, API gateway, Kong API gateway or any API gateway is not decentralizing your application, but when you decentralize your application, it is helping you to merge them together and act as a central point of contact, so that user don't need to call each and every endpoint or domain separately for the backend services. So that is why it helps you to decentralize your application basically. Does it answer, Archana?
So you mean Kong API gateway will help decentralize, right? That's
Yes,
what you
it will
said.
help to decentralize basically. Means it will not directly help to decentralize, but when you are decentralizing your application and you have now various APIs and microservices and all, that time helping you how you manage them.
Okay, so you mean at the back end there will be microservices or
Hmm,
anything which is having which is in a different functions or something,
hmm,
and then API, I mean like a gateway will help to like that is an one entry point for the channels or the source
hmm.
to reach the multiple destinations.
That's right.
Okay, got it.
Okay. Then the other question you had about the ingress, right? So there are two concepts. One is called ingress, another is called egress. Okay. So what are they is, see, I'll give you one simple example. Okay. So let's say you have a house and you want to rent it to a family. Okay. And then you will have a rental agreement. Okay. So once you have that agreement and you have given that house to that particular family or a person, then the entry of that house, how, when that person will come into that house, when he will leave, who else can come, whether he can let out it to somebody else, okay, what are the materials he can keep, there could be certain, every all conditions can be written in your contract. Okay, so mainly basically entry and exits of your house, within your house, all rules are written there. Okay, so in these, all entry related rules is ingress. So let's say you have the API gateway. Now, who can call the API gateway so that it will respond and it will forward your request to the backend service, right? how many times it can call. You have the rate limiting, right? Those kind of stuff. How much load it can take. Okay, what parameters it can send. What could be the patterns of the URLs, right? Then what security mechanisms can be applied. So these all things would be a part of the ingress
You mean the rules and regulations?
for the entries into the
Okay.
service via API gateway.
That is the ingress controller. So this
Ingress
ingress
controller.
controller means it's kind of a tool,
Hmm.
or it's an a plugin. Like
It
what is
is it is a inbuilt, and it comes up with so many different configurations.
it's an inbuilt tool in Kong gateway.
Kong, it is there for every API gateway. Okay,
Okay.
and similar to that, Kong also has it.
Okay, which helps to to add the filtrations or rules or related to security, whatever it is, it helps to add such kind of things for the incoming traffic.
Correct. Then let's say that API gateway again, you can basically have a so many different types of deployment models, right? You can have it in a standalone machine. You can have, let's say, in any cloud service, EC2 and all. You can have it deployed in Kubernetes cluster. Okay, so like that, so many different ways of deployment is there. On
Hmm.
all those deployment ways, you may have a different configuration for that ingress. And like Kubernetes itself might have controllers for them, how you want to handle your ingress and egress.
Okay.
Okay.
So egress controller means at the back end or like
Egress is now how data will go out.
okay.
Okay, so let's say you have any kind of request came. Now you can
Hmm.
filter that data can go out or not at all, right? You can send,
Hmm.
the customer may send the request, but you may not allow to send back all the responses.
Hmm.
Okay, so all rules related to sending back the data is called egress.
Sending back to the
Caller or
origin
the client.
to our caller. Huh.
Mhm.
Okay, not to the to the destination, right?
No, destination is
It's again a
that
data
is the
sending out,
ingress.
right?
Whatever is coming to the destination, that is for controlled by ingress. But when from
No, whatever
destination
data,
to caller it is going, that time it is egress.
no, from Kong to destination.
What do you referring to destination as? Destination or the caller you are saying? See, caller only gets the response back.
Okay, so no, destination, I mean the server. Like Kong is calling some backend services,
Huh,
let's say.
huh,
So from consumer to Kong, it is ingress.
huh.
Kong to backend service.
No, that time nothing is involved because
Oh,
Kong
okay.
has already filtered, and it has verified all the rules, and then it is allowing that okay, now you are ready to go to the backend service.
Okay, so from backend service to the Kong, again it is ingress,
Hmm.
and again Kong to the
From
front end.
backend service to Kong, when it
Hmm.
comes, then Kong again decides the egress rules to send it back to the client.
Okay, got it. So ingress controller, egress controller, both are resides in front of Kong.
It is a part of the API gateway.
Huh. But it is used in front of Kong, right? Like
Hmm.
behind, like it's
Yes,
Kong
yes,
is behind these controllers.
yes, yes. It's an integrated part of the API
Okay,
gateway.
fine. Okay. So is it mandatory that we should have this controller?
It is mandatory. So by default, there will be some settings, but when you go beyond that, then you have to set other rules as per your need. So you will see in detail what all things you might need when you specifically go to that particular topic.
Okay, fine. Usually, like in our Kong gateway, right, we haven't seen this kind of controllers or configurations that we haven't done. So that's why I'm just following these
Yeah,
dots.
I mean, if application is not that complex or big, then the default settings works. But sometimes, somebody might have done it is one time configuration, so you may not notice it, or you don't need to do it on day by basis. So you may not know about it.
Okay, okay, fine. So it is not for each client rule. I mean, like a client call, right? It is for the gateway altogether.
It is for the gateway.
I see. Okay, fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, the
What
doubts.
about Rishita? You are good.
Yes, Manoranjan. Actually, we had discussed and together we had this doubt.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This. Okay, great. So now what I'm going to do is that overview section. I will go through and quickly discuss, or basically how I'll do is I'll ask couple of questions, and you try to explain me them, so that I am ensured that okay, you had um, grabbed it basically. Okay. So in the overview of Kong API gateway. So you have something called dev portal. Can you explain anyone what is dev portal?
Yeah.
This is
So left portal, which helps to provide access to the developers, like new, for they can manage the permissions for the existing or the new users added, and then we can do the uh, documentation of the services and all that they have created.
Hmm, hmm.
And what else?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Then admin API.
Admin, the admin API is again for admin purposes. Like even in admin, it's a RESTful interface for creation of the services, routes, and consumers, which will helps to automate. We can
Hmm,
do the automation as well through the admin API.
hmm, hmm, hmm. Yes. Okay. So can you tell any two feature which is not supported in the open source version?
not supported. All these advanced features of, uh, I mean, there are some,
Plugin.
yeah,
Any two. So why it is required is, let's
Advanced
say,
authentication, HMAC, something with a JOT, advanced JOT authentication, something is there that is not supported.
hmm,
some mocking is not supported, I think. I'm not remembering exactly what is the name.
Yeah, mocking is not supported.
Supported at API.
okay. So this is something which you have taken note, right? So some important thing, mocking, of course, the API that is on the infrastructure part. Then in the traffic management, like GraphQL is not supported, which is very very important. So nowadays, most of the people are going with GraphQL in production version. Okay, so if you are planning for a big application, and if you are going with your open source, then it may not work, because your GraphQL development should happen from day one. Okay, specifically when you have any legacy or existing services and APIs which you want to make a good integration queries and all, you will require GraphQL. So that term you remember, GraphQL would be very important uh, nowadays. Then advanced caching is not there. Okay,
Hmm.
advanced rate limiting is not there. Yeah. Role based access control is not there. Advanced authentication is not there. Okay, so these are the main thing. And another is a secret management
Okay.
in the
You
security
mean
side.
that is also not present for
It is not
OSS?
present. Yes. Other than that, in the observability, you don't have API analytics, which is very important. In production, it is almost must. Then in for the enterprise version, anyway, all are not there. For enterprise support, performance tuning, those are taken care of. But this can be manageable. Okay, whatever is under enterprise support and services, that is manageable in the last section. But these other things which I told, those are definitely have to have in the production version. Okay.
And so you mean like for the production environment, the OSS is not recommended. We have to like
Hmm.
everybody have to go with the enterprise version.
Enterprise version. So what I'm seeing is, for example, let's say they have you know, pay as you go version. At least you
Yeah.
have to take that up and go ahead with it. So open source, if you do, then couple of things you can play around, but whatever features is here in this, I don't see it is useful at all,
Hmm.
even for learning purpose, I would say. Because if you are doing it for learning purpose, then what is the use? Anyway, the main things are there in the license version, and open source, you won't be able to take it to production if those features are not there.
Okay.
Okay. So that is about this overview. And what else? This to be noted. I go to support. Okay,
You
version.
sharing
Hmm.
screen? Are you?
No, no, I'm not sharing because I'm just. This is something which I have gone through in the last class, so I'm just asking to check whether you
Huh.
have gone
Fine.
through
Let's.
and understood. So you do not open from your side also. I mean, try to answer if you know. Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's just the review, what you have learned so far.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then regarding the versioning, right? Semantic versioning, then release version name, major, minor, and then patch versions and all. So can you explain how do you, number the versions
No, actually, we haven't gone through the version topic. Actually, we have just gone through this overview part only.
only overview part? Okay. Okay. ठीक है. So let me share then, and then let me move on from the next topic on support part.
Sure.
You see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. So under this introduction, you have these topics. Okay. And in that, we covered overview of Kong API Gateway. Now we are going through support part. Okay. In this, first option is first point, version support policy. Okay. So this is very important, hmm, especially when you are going through the phases of senior positions. Okay, this will be very important. So every application, whether it is a small Java application or any project or any thing deployable, you want to maintain and keep developing for a long time, you need to maintain these things. Okay, so in that, basically these 4 sections will be there. This is generic internationally. Okay, you can deviate from this as well based on your organization need or naming conventions and all, but this is almost universal. Okay, so the first part before this dot we call this as major version, then second one we call as minor version, third one we call this as patch version, and then this one is a enterprise patch. So you need to know the difference between this patch and enterprise patch. So this is different in case of Kong, which I see. This convention is not used everywhere, but normally there would be at least 3: major, minor, and patch version. This patch version is divided into 2 parts in Kong. First patch is the one when it is done by the community. Since Kong API Gateway is a open source, right? So anybody can take that code and they can enhance or fix the bugs if they are interested. Okay, then they have to tell the they have to push the code in the GitHub. Okay, it will be reviewed by the people who are managing this, and if it is approved by everybody, then your code will be taken as a part of that open source, and that new version whatever will be done, that will be called as a patch version. Okay, and if the similar fix and enhancements are done by the enterprise or the company, then they will mark it as an enterprise patch. So patch, normally I said about enhancement, normally enhancement is not a part of patch. Patch will be mainly for bug fixes, critical fixes. Minor would be for feature releases, small features and all, and major will be for a huge amount of changes across. Okay, so this is about the versioning. Any question on this?
No,
Yeah.
Aravind.
Okay, the sunset support. Okay, this is important as well. So what they say is, when the product is ready, delivered, and it reaches the maturity point, then from that time onwards they will give a support for 12 months. Okay, after that if something happens, they won't support it.
Okay. Like after sunset, right? Like
After
after we
sunset.
commission or something. Um. So, like in case if we have upgraded to the new version,
Hmm.
so do we have any support for that?
Yeah, that one official support or that cost will be like they will charge for it separately,
Okay.
and every time it might vary how much they will charge,
Okay.
because this support can be lifelong also, but that again depends. I mean, they are not liable to do it. It is all about your business collaboration, but
Okay.
until sunset period they are bound to support.
Okay.
Bug fix guidelines, supported versions. So which operating system supports which versions and all. But you take a look. These are the old versions for you. Okay, so latest one is going on 3.x.
Hmm.
Then let's see about third-party dependencies. So what are the different other tools it is can be integrated with third party? Okay,
Okay.
so data sources, you have Postgres, Redis, okay, InfluxDB, Kafka. You can integrate with them. Can integrate with these types of vaults. This is used for secret managements. So HashiCorp Vault, AWS secret management, Google secret management. Okay,
So the above one, like Postgres, Redis, and Kafka, and all that, those can be integrated for what? For the
this can
storage
be
purpose.
so this can be integrated for setting the configurations, calls, and data and all. So when any calls are going to the API gateway, right? So
Hmm.
it maintains certain data and logs, analytics, or configurations and all. Okay, so those can be integrated through APIs. So like you can use anything you want, but when you write, well, let's say you want to use some script, and normally in a production environment, everything we automate through scripts. Okay, so they will have APIs with Postgres to write your all scripts
Okay.
to have your all data being saved there. For example, let's say you have an Oracle database. Okay, now you have Java program, so they provide a API gateway. Sorry, they provide a JDBC connectivity, right? JDBC driver to connect to the database, right?
Okay.
So there, if there is some new database somebody comes up, right? They have to build that, and Java may support, may not support. For supporting it, they have to have a collaboration with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Then
one
vault.
question,
Uh-huh.
mention like this Kong API gateway is one of the service or like one part of AWS cloud, right? It's under AWS, right? It's a
No,
AWS
no.
product.
Kong is not a part of AWS. Kong is entirely different product. AWS has its own API gateway that we call as AWS API gateway.
Okay.
Kong is a equivalent API gateway which is developed by different organization altogether.
Oh, okay. Got it.
For example,
But
let's say Google
this
also has
Kong,
their own API gateway, APG.
okay. But here, okay, so here, if in the Kong project, we can utilize the cloud related services. Like, this here
Yeah,
it is mentioned AWS Circuit Manager and then AWS Elastic Cache under Redis.
right.
Okay.
So see, for any application, you need so many different types of tools and services. Okay,
Hmm.
API
Hmm.
gateway is one of the tool or services for managing your APIs, your routes, and all things, right? So it is a single product. Okay, now AWS also has it, but AWS is also telling that if you don't like my API gateway, you can use any other API gateway, and I will support to integrate it with other services.
Okay.
So let's say your entire infrastructure, data, everything is in your AWS cloud. Okay, but API
Hmm.
gateway you don't want to use because AWS has certain feature which you don't need, or it is costly, or it is like not good as it is in API Kong.
Hmm.
So that time instead of AWS API gateway, you use Kong API gateway. It's like
Okay.
program you can write in any language. Hmm.
Okay.
Then you have these vaults. Okay, the vault is used for your secret management. So you have a HashiCorp vault, you have AWS Secret Manager, and Google Secret Manager. Give me 1 minute. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm back. Okay, so after that you have service mesh. Hmm. So you see this Kong Ingress controller has been tested against the following service mesh versions. Okay, so one is Kong mesh, another is Istio mesh. Okay, so for your information, this Istio mesh is one of the very popular used in many of the big applications. Okay, and what is this service mesh is, see, when you have a huge number of services, that time the deployment model where you want to use Kubernetes cluster, let's say, or use virtualization like many VMs, how you set up the firewalls, how you set up the different gateways and all. So those all can be controlled through Istio or any service mesh. There is a very big concept in itself, and this product itself is a very big in itself. So in general, if you see, it basically all ingress related things are maintained via this. You guys are with me? You are able to hear me, right?
Yes, Manish.
Yes, ma'am. So you're telling that Kong Ingress controller are Kong Mesh or Istio? That these are the types of controller.
No, that Kong ingress controller has been tested against this. Means these
Hmm.
mesh technologies are used, okay, to support that ingress controller.
Okay. To verify if everything is in.
Everything is
Like,
fine or not. So it is telling these two products are integrated and tested. There are many other service meshes also. Whether it will
hmm.
work or not, they don't guarantee, but they are saying that these two are tested.
Okay. These two helps to test the controller.
No, no, no. The service mesh itself is one concept, or you can say product, or an integrated environment where your services are managed and deployed. Okay, so it is like this. So let's say you have only one microservice. Okay, now when you have a one microservice, you will put it in, let's say, in one instance or two instance or three instance. Let's say one microservice you put into three instance. Okay, your load increases, then same microservice you are putting into, let's say, 50 instances. When I
Mm-hmm.
say instance, it is like 50 servers.
Hmm.
Okay, let's say like Amazon kind of application. Okay, or Amazon might have, for, let's say, a search operation is there. Amazon may have more than few thousands of servers only for the search API when you are searching some products. Okay, so now think a situation. It I talked about only one API, one service, few thousands servers, and when you have hundreds of APIs, then it will multiply 100 into thousands servers. You get it? So it will go for few lakhs servers.
Hmm. Hmm.
So managing that many servers, which server is down, which server is performing, what is not performing, who should enter, have what kind of security settings. If some servers has security problems, okay, what is slow, okay, who is performing, not performing. Hundreds of parameters are checked in big applications like Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in those cases, the lakhs of hundreds or thousands of services are managed via another tool, you can say, called service
Okay.
mesh.
Okay.
So service mesh takes all those services under this its umbrella, and then it controls. Okay. Now when it under this umbrella, this ingress controller, egress controllers will be just two parts
Hmm.
out of so many different things what it does. So out of those, the only that ingress controller part, which is let's say uh, in this case when you are using Kong API gateway, is belonging to Kong API gateway, need to be basically supported by that service mesh, or it should be compatible with this service mesh.
Hmm.
Okay, so here this statement is saying Kong ingress controller has been tested against these following services. So if you are having such a big application, such big infrastructure, and you are using any mesh technologies, then the Kong API gateway is basically they are trying to say is suitable for it.
Hmm.
So you don't have to worry that if I use Kong API gateway and if I have this big infrastructure and I want to use service mesh, will it support or not? So they are saying these two will support, but if you are using some other service mesh, then they don't guarantee. So
Okay.
as a DevOps lead, right, you should be knowing before using Kong API gateway that
Hmm.
do you need a service mesh first of all? Okay, if you don't need, then you don't have to worry about this parameter. But if you need, then definitely you have to worry which service mesh you are going to use. So if you
Okay.
use Kong API gateway, then you are restricted with these two. I mean, as a promised supported mesh technology.
Okay.
Clear, right? Okay. So now metrics, right? So the Kong ingress controller has been tested against the following metrics providers. Okay. So what is metrics? Let's understand. This is also uh, very must know for DevOps guys. Okay. Prometheus. Okay. StatSD, OpenTelemetry, Zipkin. Okay. What are they? Right? Telemetry and all. So when we talked about hundreds and thousands of servers, okay, let's say you have one single API called search products, okay, so that API is running in more than 1,000 servers. Now when customers across the world they are hitting that search, then that search is request is going to any one of those 1,000 servers. Okay. Now individually when an program running in that server, that log is generated inside that server. Correct. Now when there is an issue I want to debug, you need those logs into a centralized place. Okay, then from that centralized place you will be using some log mechanism tools like Splunk, Datadog and Logly to view it. But how does it come to that centralized server where all logs are integrated, all logs are being stored, right? For
Mm-hmm.
that, to transfer or transmit those log data or any other data, application related data as per the need, right, are transferred to those centralized server via these techniques. So telemetry is one of the popular one, okay, and Prometheus. Okay, Prometheus is also very popular technique or tool.
Okay.
You got what is this metrics? Why we need it?
Yeah. Yeah. But my question is, why do we need this extra tool to send? Why can't we directly send to a Splunk or Datadog?
So if you can directly call the APIs from Splunk and they or certain storage and you can send it also. But that itself is a huge work when it comes about scalability and performance. Because if you want to send it, then you have to code it, right? You have to manage the performance. Okay. So
Hmm.
and initially, if you say few years before also, people used to do it, but these guys has come up with a very acute algorithm and techniques, so that it makes your job easy. You don't have to spend much time on this. Like,
Okay.
you subscribe to this, or take those libraries, and with certain basic configurations, you are done. You have to install those in all the instances, okay, as a part of your deployable, and then you are done. But if you have to write, that is your responsibility to manage. But they have their own very good streaming API techniques, which makes, because the log is generated in terabytes on daily basis in applications like Amazon. Log itself will be in terabytes, and you forget about application data. That will be a huge.
Okay.
Got it? Yeah. And then log providers. Okay, so this is Splunk, Datadog, Logly. Okay, these are those log providers where you can basically interface through all
Hmm.
integrated data, and you can do search your logs and take necessary actions.
Apart from this, also Kong may be able to integrate, right? Other than whatever
Other
is
also,
listed.
but these three, it is saying it is tested, so they are confirming it will
Hmm.
definitely work for these three.
Ha, ha.
Okay,
Okay.
it may work on others also.
Okay.
Then S3 compatible APIs. Okay, any S3 compatible API is available for
For
use
the
when
storage.
working with a remote file storage. Okay, so from API gateway, when you want to have certain data stored in S3, or you have some references there you want to pull and check, you can use this. Identity providers. So these all identity Kong is expected to work with all these identity providers it has mentioned. Okay, so why you need it? For all your authentications and authorizations. So out of all this, AWS Cognito is popular. Okay, identity Azure Active Directory is very popular. Okay, so why I picked this product from Microsoft is, see, Active Directory is one of the very stable user and authentication management system since day one, since 90s, and they have been consistently been performed well, and Active Directory is used in more than 80% of the enterprises across the world, even for the non-IT companies. Okay, so Active Directory has a very good role in the identity world. Then Okta
Okay.
is one of the popular also. Okay, Okta authentication. You can make a note. Yeah, these are also used here and there, but for me, I have seen these two have been these three: AWS Cognito, Microsoft
Mhm.
Azure Active Directory, and Okta. Okay, widely used.
What are all the things?
AWS Cognito, Microsoft
Uh-huh.
Azure Active Directory, and Okta. Okay.
Okay.
Then let's see about browser support. So these are you don't have to buy hard as such, but have need to be hands-on with these things, and you should be able to immediately refer that these are the browsers being supported. For Edge, this is the versions: Chrome, Firefox, and Safari. In vulnerable vulnerability patching process. Okay. So let me see what would be important to explain here. So as you know, this is all about all security patches and all, right? So every product will have security loopholes, okay, and companies constantly fix them and develop on their application. So they have given how they will be constantly patching those security fixes. Okay, and if you are, let's say you are choosing this Kong API gateway for a banking application or finance application, security would be the most important one. If you are using it for a, let's say, for any security mission, any let's say for research centers, or let's say for your space programs and all, right, which should be very very highly secured, right? In those cases it is must to be very cognizant about all these security loopholes and all, and you should know how you should be able to taking care of them. Then you have software bill of material. This is about how the bills are being maintained. Okay, which for the enterprise, for open source license. Okay, all those. So this is about licensing and all of the product which you are going to use. So stability also. Okay, this is a different topic. So these all about support. Okay, so go through this in detail, mm, and then let's catch up again our in the next meet. So under support, anything you want to ask?
We will go through and come back, Manoj, in our office.
Okay, okay. So when we can meet next in 1 or 2 days?
Archana,
Yeah,
Friday,
Yeah, let's
let's
target
just
on
check
Friday.
our meeting. Yeah,
Friday.
Hmm.
we'll check our meetings and all and get back. Is that okay for you?
Yeah, yeah, perfect.
Sure. Yeah. So, yeah, that's it for today, I think.
All right. So take care. We'll see you again.
Yeah, sure, sure.
Sure.
Bye.
Thanks, Manu.
Yeah, take care. Bye.
Okay.